to another episode of Conscious Parenting Live. Our goal on this show is to introduce you to the people and to the ideas that will help you raise kids who are happy, who are resilient, and who have the skills they need to thrive in their world. Now, for a lot of parents, they know a lot of the things to do. They know I should schedule free play with my kids. I should schedule time for us to bond as a family. I should do this and I should do that. But for a lot of parents, the genuine problem is that they don't seem to have enough time, right? And that is why today I am bringing on somebody who he is fondly referred to in our community as a dadpreneur. And that's also how he identifies himself, and he will explain why that is to you. He is the founder of the Become a Fearless Father podcast, which is all about helping dadpreneurs become successful and make a huge impact in the world as well as in the lives of their kids. And he is a productivity coach who teaches people how to have an insanely productive week without losing valuable family time. Sounds good? All right, then let's bring on my friend, Klaas. Hey, Klaas, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate this.
It's great to have you here, my friend. It's really great to have you here. So just to get things warmed up, can you start by explaining a bit of what it means to be a dadpreneur and why have you chosen that particular title?
Exactly. Yeah, actually, to be honest, I'm kind of switching at the moment between dadpreneur and entrepreneurial dad, because somebody said dadpreneur sounds kind of like a kitty cat, like a really soft kitty cat. I'm like, you can see my kitty cats behind me. They're not that soft. So I'm like, all right, let me check if entrepreneurial dad fits more. But what it means is that besides being a father, of course, I am an entrepreneur, meaning in my case, I work from home. I coach my clients from home, and that brings all kinds of different challenges on its own, right? Because, well, maybe they hop in right now, right? If they have a day off today. I thought they wouldn't, but it's Spain. They surprise me with all kinds of day offs all the time, and that's, as I said, it's a different challenge. It's a lot of fun, and we go as it. We'll roll with a bunch of. Yesterday, I had a live interview, and one of them hopped in right before he wanted to come to bed. They knew I was on. Had my live interview going. The guy was talking, and my little one came in. He wanted a kiss from his daddy. I mean, what are you gonna do, right? So that's what it's all about. And if you put that title, it helps you not to give the excuse anymore. It's like, hey, sorry, my kid. No. It's like, that's who I am. This is who I am, and I'm not gonna apologize for that, right? So far, loving it.
That's brilliant, and I think it's really important to have the conversation around, or to reconstruct the narrative around dads who are busy and who say because they're busy, everything else has to take a back bench. I think growing up, I grew up in Nigeria, and growing up, we all looked up to a lot of these like male figures who were out there, making the bacon and coming home. But right now, there are so many opportunities and ways where you can't, it doesn't have to be either or, it can be both. And that's why I love having conversations with dads like you who are insanely busy, but who still prioritize the family time and have figured out a clever way, an intelligent way to make it work. So moving into the conversation that we're going to have today, right? There's something that I've heard you mention. I've heard Brendan Burchard mention it. I had Nir Eyal on recently, and he mentioned it. And when I look at a lot of people that I really respect in the entrepreneurial space or in the online training space, I find that there's something that a lot of regular people do. They schedule their work week really well. Like if you look at their calendar, they have all their meetings lined up. They have all their calls lined up. But when it comes to family time, everything kind of, is left, they freestyle it. And it's a concept that's still novel to me, trying to deliberately and intentionally plan out those other periods when I'm not working. So I would love you, first of all, before we even go into the tactical aspect, can you talk a bit about why it is really important to schedule your family time as well as your work time?
Yeah, the last thing especially is very important. I actually just wrote a post about it saying like, look, it's just like when you're in an airplane, right? They mention every single time to you, if something happens, your oxygen mask come down, first put on your own oxygen mask, then put on that of your kids, right? So first, when I start planning, I always look at myself. It might sound weird, I'm a dad, I know, but I first look at myself. What are the things that I must do for myself to make sure that on a day like today, for example, where they're home all day, I can be my best me and give as much time of myself to them especially energy and being focused and present, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the most important things. Then second, mostly when people plan, they think it's all about business. It's all about work, right? You come into work and you start planning out your day. What do you need to do and what quota you need to make or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And that's great, but we're not here to work. We're not living on this earth to work. Work is just a vehicle to make sure that we get the money that we need to do the things that we want to do, or to make sure at least that we can pay the bills, right? Which unfortunately for some people is also the case. They're every single day like, oh, am I going to make it this month or this week? And that's a tragedy, but it is what it is. And then we know we need to work. However, we also need to plan our life, because that's why we're here. We're here to fulfill our life purpose. So you got to focus on that. How do I improve myself every single day? How do I make sure that I spend enough time with my kids? And it doesn't have to be hours and hours on end. Sometimes I got days that maybe I spent half an hour with them, right? Just because of, especially back in the day when I was doing crazy amounts of live interviews, as you know, I saw them for like 30 minutes, but I made sure that it was split, and I made sure that it was in the most important moments of the day, meaning in the morning, when they wake up, and at night before they go to bed.
Yeah,
exactly. Those if nothing else, you got to have that. And unfortunately, there are dads out there that, you know, they got, as you said, they got to bring in the bacon, right? And they don't see their kids in the morning. They just go to bed while they're still sleeping, give them a kiss, and then they go. And when they come back, it's like they're in bed again, right? Which is unfortunate. But then it's even more important that you plan your weeks. That you plan your weekends, that you know that your weekend is then focused on them, right? If not, man, they grow up real fast, right? I mean, even in a week like that, if you don't see them for 5 days, all of a sudden it's like, wow, they changed.
You've grown taller. Yeah.
That's insane, right? So then it's even more important that we plan our weekends the weekend before. So everything's set up. We discussed that. I discussed it with my wife. It's like, hey, are we planning this? Like, I already knew last Sunday morning that tomorrow we're going to go to amusement park. And then on Sunday, I'm actually going to I plan in a single date. So meaning I'm going on a father-son date where I'm taking my youngest one. He loves the zoo. I'm going to take him to the zoo. Because the older one is now like, he's 6. He's like, I don't want to see those. I don't want to see lions
too cool
again.
For that.
Not exactly all, but we've been a lot this year so far. So we've been very often. So those kind of things then are very important, and we don't do that. So what happens in the weekends? We happen up doing nothing, right? We end up sleeping in because we're tired, right? And then at 12 o'clock we start. What should we do today? Oh wait, we still got to go shopping. So now we go shopping, right? Oh, we still got to clean the house. So now we'll go clean the house. Now Saturday's over. So what have the kids been doing? Well, most likely they've been watching TV, and that's okay, right? I mean, I'm not judging anybody. It's okay. My kids are watching TV right now, so I got all the time to focus right here, right? We got to do what we got to do.
We got to do
and
what
then
we got
it's
to
Sunday,
do.
and the same happens, right? And then the Sunday's passed, and it's Monday. We go back to work, which most of the times we don't like, right? But now we had I was almost going to say shitty. Now we had a bad weekend, and now we go into a Monday, which makes it even worse. However, if you start with just that, planning out fun stuff to do for you and the family in the weekend, right? Now we're on a roll. Now we're starting to step up, and it's more fun. Now you had a really amazing weekend. Now you got something to look forward to next weekend.
Yeah.
Now Monday starts completely different. And for me, that really changed the game. And then
that's brilliant. So I'll take you back a step. You mentioned in passing, just whilst you began your explanation just now, that you start by focusing on yourself. So that tells me that you not only schedule work and you not only schedule time for the kids, but you schedule time for personal development. So I still want to go a bit more into the tactical part of scheduling for the kids. But since you say, like you mentioned, it all stems from you, because you have to be your best self in order to show up well for them. So can you tell us a bit about what you do when it comes to scheduling time for your personal development, or just to top up your own oxygen mask, just to wear your own oxygen mask?
Yeah, exactly. Great question. So what I do there is I wake up early, right? I wake up every day 2 hours before my kids get up. Doesn't always work that way. They're still young, and you know how that goes, right? They get up themselves, and you know they'll come join me. But I usually try and get in 2 hours for myself, meaning I do some exercising, some activity stretching, some meditation, some breathing exercises, some reading, very important. That we just talked about it. Got the book right here, right?
Yeah.
Right now I'm reading this book.
Amazing book.
Absolutely recommend it to any dad out there, actually any parent out there, because it's really good. It really helps you upgrade your own life. Again, this is focusing on you, right? That book is exactly a great example about that. And I work on my core, right? I'm 40 plus, so I got to make sure that my back and my stomach are strong. Why? Because my kids are young. They want to be on my shoulders. They want to hug me. They want to play with me. And I want to be the full person that I can be, right? And be able to do that. I mean, I find it so sad. And again, not judging, because some parents just can't, right? They're injured or whatever it is. But some parents, they just don't take care of themselves. And then when they go to the park, their kids want to play with them, and they just can't. They're tired and they're out of shape, right? I don't want to, me personally, I don't want to be that dad. Right?
Me neither.
So I'm usually the dad. When we play hide and seek with all the other kids, it's me and the kids, right? And I'll be the craziest one. I'll run around and just go crazy. Soccer, same thing. Like, it's the kids and me, right? And everybody does their own thing, right? I had somebody else say last time, it's like, I'm so tired. I've been working all day. I've been taking care of the kids. All I want to do when they go to the park is let them play. And I just want to, have some me time. And I can understand that. I never thought of it that way. And now I'm like, you know what? I actually respect that. I can understand that. It's just not for me, right? I want to take everything out of that. So again, that all comes from those 2 hours, making sure that I do what I do. Now, you keep saying like, wow, you're so productive. You got to know that from 9:30 to 11:30, I'm training. I go swimming 2 times a week, and I go, which is TRX training 2 times a week. Plus I do a little bit of Muay Thai at the moment, right? So that takes 2 hours out of my working day. But I know that's going to come back tenfold because I'm fit now. I feel great, right? Not so much the day they kicked my ass today, but that's beside the point. But so I find things that I like and that I know that make me feel good, and I plan those in, right? And because I plan, that's all part of my life part, right? So life that comes in, I plan something out for my wife, make sure that that's sharp every time, making sure that I upskill, right? Something for my kids, something for myself. Actually, two things at the moment. 2 things for myself: working on my health and working on my wealth, right? So all those things I plan out. But because I plan it that way, I look at, okay, when do I drop my kids off at school, right? When do I wake them up? Okay, 7:30. When do they have to be at school? At 9. Okay, so I schedule all of that, and I do. I mean, maybe it sounds like, wow, that's really rigid. It's not. But it's necessary, especially with kids at that young age. If you got that discipline going on, they know if my alarm sounds, it's 8:45. It's time to go to school, and they know, yay, the alarm sounds. They start dancing to the music because it's fun music, right? They put on their shoes, they grab their stuff, and we're out the door, right? And that stuff is important. So they all know exactly what time they need to go in the shower, brush their teeth, all that stuff, right? And in the beginning, it takes time. It takes a lot of, you just got to focus on that. Do that until they figure it out on their own. Like the 6-year-old actually now is helping my 3-year-old take a shower. Daddy, you want to help me? No, you know how to do it yourself. And then my oldest one says, you want me to help you? And he goes, yeah, because he's lazy and he doesn't want to do it on his own. So now my oldest one is giving him a shower, which to me is perfect, right? Yeah. And because it builds a bond between brothers as well. So that's great. But again, then I check out, okay, what time do they go to school, right? In this case, at the moment, they go for 4 days till 5, right? So at 5 o'clock, I know at 4:45, I know I got to pick them up. After that, done. Everything is focused on the kids, right? And that's it. We go to the park, we play, and my oldest one now is starting to have a little bit of homework, make sure we finish that. Then they have some dinner, then my wife comes home. And here's where I'm working, and this is an advice for parents that are listening that have a great relationship. If you're not doing this yet, make sure you do it. It is changing the game for me. Focus 10, 20 minutes purely on your wife. And and I know you also have a female that watch. Do the same. If your husband is the one that's working away and he's coming home, as soon as he comes home, focus 20 minutes on him. Just ask him how his day was and listen. And make sure that you ask the right questions. Because it's not, how was your day? Because what's the answer always?
Fine.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So make sure you ask the right questions. Meaning, hey, honey, what was the most fun thing that you did today? Or what big achievement have you accomplished today? Or what achievement? Maybe it wasn't big, maybe it was just an achievement, right? Give them a good feeling. What are you grateful for today? So talk about some stuff like that. Be quiet, let him or her talk. In my case, it's her, right? My wife comes home. And again, it's something I'm working on. So last time I did 10 minutes and I really saw a change in the way my wife was just sitting there. She came home really tired and I was listening to her and asking her the right questions. And I saw her lifting up a little bit. And that's what you want, right? That build that connection with your partner and have them feel good, even though they had a really rough day at work, for example.
Brilliant. Okay, so to go over everything you've said, you schedule time for yourself. You start the day with that, right? You have your work scheduled. You schedule time for the kids, and then you schedule time for your significant other once you guys are back home together. All right, now, right before we get into the tactical stuff, there's one more thing that I want you to just talk about, and I've heard you talk about this a lot. When we talk about scheduling time, if you have a partner, it's something that you guys need to do together. And I've heard you in some of your master classes say that, I think it's every Sunday or something, that you and your wife sit together for just a few minutes, and then you plan and you agree together. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So plan together? No, my wife doesn't plan, right? And that's okay.
Okay. My bad.
I'm not her coach, right? I'm her husband, and she can do whatever she feels comfortable. And I made that mistake. I tried in the beginning, act like I'm her coach without officially being her coach. That's like walking in the quicksand, and you go down real quick, and nobody can breathe.
What I mean is, when you talk about planning the weekend, do you do that together with your wife, or you do it solo?
No. Now, of course, that those are things that we do together. So it's not I'm going to plan that we're going to go to the zoo and we're going to go there, and it's like, hey, this is what we're doing. No.
So that's what I was referring to, actually. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Sorry, I misunderstood. So Sunday morning, when I'm done planning everything out, right? That's the moment that I say, hey, sweetie, I'm done planning. Let me go over it with you, right? Especially when it's like, my live interviews there in the evening. Right when the kids go to bed, I got to make sure that she knows, like, that's it, right? Sometimes there are strategy calls that I have around those times. She got to know that, hey, look, boom, 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 this is planned. Every Monday I have my coaching calls. There's also one in the evening. So she has to know that, right? She has to know what I'm doing. Why? Because, well, if I'm on a coaching call, I can't take care of the kids. So if something pops up, she's got to know that I'm busy and then that she has to take care of it, right? She knows the door is always open, but still, like, and that communication is very important. And then we discuss, hey, honey, look, I try to think already ahead of time, like, okay, I would like to do this and this for the kids. Or maybe I ask the kids as well, like, hey, what would you like to do next weekend? And then I discuss it with her. Like, hey, what about if we do this? What about if we do that? Right? So in 2 weekends, for example, I already know I'm going to go visit my parents. But of course, I discussed that first with her, saying like, hey, look, this is my idea for that weekend. Meaning you got the kids, you got the dogs, you got the turtle, you got to take care of everything. Is that okay? And I'm going to visit my parents for a weekend. And then she says yes or she says no, right? Depending on how she's
All right, cool. So diving into a bit more of the tactical stuff now, I know you have a free masterclass on productivity, and I'm going to give a link to that. So anybody who would like to see it can click on it to go see it. And I highly recommend you guys go watch it. But let's talk about a bit more of the tactical stuff now. So I've tried a few of these productivity planners in the past, and I think one of the reasons why I didn't stay consistent with them, that's a productivity planner for my personal life, was because it just felt so complicated to do, right? And I know one of the things, if you're trying to adopt a habit, the simpler it is, the more likely you are going to be to stick to it, right? Sure. So can you walk us through conceptually how people should go about planning for their family time, their weekends, their schedule generally?
Exactly. Well, weekends are actually just, if it's just the weekends that people want to plan, I mean, to be honest, they don't need the ultimate productivity masterclass. That's a little over, way over.
Or not necessarily just weekend, just plan, right? Because scheduling is important. Yeah. If it's going to make them insanely productive without compromising family time, then everything. Yeah.
Exactly. See, the thing is with, because it's not just about planning. The only thing is, if I'm going to talk about the other stuff, people are not as interested. Because what I do with my week planning, I first of all sit down. I really think like, how was my week in regards to life? How was that? Right? What are my wins? I want to try and really make myself feel good. What did I win? What was like, a magical moment, right? And I write all those things down. Well, actually, to be honest, I do it all on the computer, but actually, writing is better. it's just going to take me 2-3 hours. So but that's like I really look at how did that go, and then I look at, okay, did I achieve my goals? Like I said, goals for my life, right? Goals how I want to be with my kids. One of the goals that's always there, be calm and poised, right? So how calm and poised was I really last week, right? That's the most important thing. I think most dads, that's one of the things that we really struggle with. And me, at least, especially back in the day, now a little less, but still sometimes it just happens, right? So how was I? And I plan all that out. And then I go to the next part. Like how was my mind feeling? Like how was I? What kind of mistakes did I make, right? It's also important to see that. Maybe I yelled at them too much the week. That way I can analyze is like what happened this week, right? Maybe I had a really, really strangest week at work, and that made me real snappy. So now I know I have a challenge. Now I can upgrade myself, right? Because now if I know, like, okay, if I have a hard week at work and I come home and I'm like this, I got to find something that makes sure that I leave that at the door. Because my kids don't deserve that, right? If I had a bad week, my kids don't deserve to get that. My kids deserve always to get the best of me, right? And I'm saying my kids, but what I mean is like everybody, every dad, in my opinion, should think that way.
For sure.
Right? So I write all that, and then I go into the planning. Right?
I love that. You know, just right before you go on, one of the things I love about what you just said right now is the self-awareness that comes from those kind of exercises. Because to give you an example, one of the things that I found out is a lot of the problems we have as a parent or in our relationships, they occur on repeat. Like if I think about all the times that maybe I would lose my temper, I would get short-tempered, they're often triggered by very similar things. Like for me, for example, I know I hate being late. So if we have to go somewhere and my wife is running late or the kids are running late, my fuse starts getting shorter and shorter and shorter. You know, and if I analyze the past week and I see that the few times that I've lost my temper or I've gotten pretty short-tempered, they've all like 90% have been related to timing, then I can proactively tackle that, right? Anyway, I just thought to chip that in. Please go on.
It's a great one. It's a great one. Time, man. Especially, as I just said, like if the whole week, all you've been doing is working and you plan that weekend, right? I mean, it happened to me in the beginning. It's like, you know, we're ready to go to the zoo. You know that the zoo opens at 10. You know there's some shows. And you're like, why is nobody ready? What's going on here? I mean, we planned a week ahead that we're going to go to the zoo today, right? And then you're like, all right, man, this. What I'm going to do now, what I started doing was like, all right, I need to calm down. And then my wife starts, here we come. So now, because I actually had a couple of live interviews with guys that was asking about this, and they're actually like, it's because we put expectations on certain things, and it doesn't work that way. Because we can't put expectations on how fast our kid's getting ready. We can't put expectations on our wife, how fast it's getting ready. The only thing we can put expectation on is ourselves, because those are the expectations that we can control, right? That's a big tip, and that's very important. That will help with your patience. It's like, okay, I'm feeling very impatient right now. Why is that, right? Today, I have to be honest, I'm not very patient today. And I've been yelling a little bit at my kids. And why? Because I haven't eaten my breakfast like I always do, right? I've trained twice as hard than I usually do, and I'm tired, right? Now, I'm still able to bring it here because I cricked myself up a little bit before we started. But I was actually about to go to bed. I was like, man, I think I'm going to tell Ayo that, you know, I'm not feeling good right now. And I'm not, right? And then
I double appreciate you for showing up with all this energy.
No problem at all. But now you know that, like, okay, so now I know what I've done wrong. Like the first thing, I gotta eat a good breakfast. I can't skip that like I did today, right? So now I know. And that's how you learn. That's how you upgrade. That's how your life all of a sudden is like. When I started doing these planning things, and I'm not exaggerating here, like I was done on a Monday what I usually do in a whole week. I looked and I was like, man, this kind of feels like cheating. Okay. You know what I mean? So that's why that's so important. And of course, it's different for me. I plan life and work. I mean, if you got your job, you're 9 to 5, you go, what's that a plan, right? There's not that much to plan. I wish you do, because you got to try and really think like, you know, what can I control, and look at your job that you're in 9 to 5, even if you don't like it, what can I control to make sure that I do like it, right? So it becomes more fun. What can I do to make sure that I can make more money? so I can deliver more value to my boss. So he sees that, and in a month I can say like, look, what do you think? How did I do? Is this more than I'm being paid for? So what's up, right? And that's okay. I mean, but that takes then confidence. That takes courage. Again, that you got to know, like, it's like people could be listening right now, like, dude, I'm not going to talk to my boss, right? I didn't want to ask at first. Like, I know what I charge now. And my coach was like, that's what you got to charge. I'm like, I'm not charging that. That's way too much for my coaching. And now I'm like, actually, I need to upgrade. I need to ask even more than what he told me to ask, right? That's always confidence. And that's all, like, you start to look, I got that challenge. Let's do this, right? I'm not spending enough time with my kids. That's a challenge. Great. First of all, congratulations, the fact that you acknowledge yourself that that's the case, right? I mean, give ourselves grace. Don't stop blaming yourself every single time for this and that. Give yourself grace and then look like, okay, now I got a problem. Stop focusing on the problem. Start looking at what can I do, right? Where can I take 15 minutes extra to make sure that I'm here, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe that is talking to your boss, say like, dude, man, 5 o'clock, I'm out. Got to be with my kids, man.
Right? And so if we go back, right? So you said the first thing you do is the self-awareness check. Like, what were my major wins? What didn't I do so well? So once you have that mapped out, then what?
Then you start planning. So then you go and then I gotta say you gotta plan your 90 days. But again, that all depends on how eager you are to make progress, right? You gotta have a future vision. So I plan my 90 days and I put that in there so I can keep. And then I start planning my week. Then
That's
I say,
brilliant. Okay,
right?
You know a guy called Benjamin Hardy. Like, he says that you shouldn't have like goals that just stretch out. He does these 90-day sprints, 90-day goals, and then that gives him a shorter window, a tighter window it puts a lot of urgency behind what he's trying to achieve. So I totally get that. So you plan your 90 days and then you start listing goals out that you need to hit within those 90 days, right?
Yeah. So I got those planned out. So usually I do that every 90 days. Once I have that part, you just copy and paste it, right? I'm not going to plan my 90 days out every single week. That's ridiculous. That'll take you a long, long time. But after that's done, I see what the week is, right? And what do I need to do this week to make sure that I accomplish what I want to have accomplished by the end of the 90 days, right? And once that's done, I'm actually going to start thinking like, okay, what could be a challenge? What could keep me from achieving this, right? And in the beginning, for example, it was like, man, I started training again recently. Like, I could get really sore. And I'm a bad person when I'm sore. I'm not the most friendly person around. So I was like, okay, so I need to start stretching more. I need to start doing what's that thing called? The roller, right? So those kind of things you look at beforehand. What else could happen? Like when my mother-in-law was still alive, right? She was in the house. Okay, so maybe she's all of a sudden not feeling so good. I have to take care of her. Or maybe, you think about those things beforehand. That also helps for your patients because now those things can pop off, right? Especially if they happen a lot, you write them down. So you know already in your mind, like, okay, this could pop off, right? My son's going to get sick. I mean, there's silly things, but if you're ready for those at least, your mindset's different. And that really helps you to be more relaxed, more calm during the week, right? And after that, so I also write down how do I see the outcome for those goals, right? I think that's very important. So it's not just like, okay, let's say, for example, I want to eat healthy every day, right? That's good. That's a good goal. And so I want to eat 6 out of 7 days, so I want to eat healthy, right? I give myself a break one day. It's nice. But then I write down, it's like, okay, so this week I felt like my body felt fantastic. I didn't have any stomach problems, and my energy was really high, right? That's an outcome of how I see the week happen. And that also helps you with your mindset, right? I had an amazing time with my kids, playing with them in the playground, going all crazy with them. They enjoyed, they were smiling and laughing, and we all had great times of fun, right? Those kind of things, if you put that in your brain, you go into certain situations a complete different way, right? Because now you're like, okay, this was my outcome. How do I achieve this, right? And after that's done, then afterwards, as you know, in the end, I really start planning out the days. And the days, they go from hour or sometimes half an hour to half an hour. Like I just set everything out. And again, it doesn't mean that like, this is what I got to do. No. It's a thread. It's so you got a line to work by. When I'm done and I analyze, it went all over the place. but that line kept me going from point A
Yeah.
to point B, right? And that this happens, that's all right. But just the fact that you have those points, that you have those goals, and that you have everything stepped out, that makes you so much more productive. It's ridiculous.
So that's awesome, Klaas. So I know that you have a masterclass on productivity, and there's a messenger link that I will show here so that anybody who's interested in learning a bit more or watching the masterclass, seeing how you use your planner, they can just type that link in. It'll take them to a Facebook Messenger. What is that? A sequence, and then they click it, and it takes them to the masterclass. Correct? Yeah, and that is and that is totally free, courtesy of my man Klaas. Right. So as we're wrapping up, I'm going to ask you the question I ask everybody that comes on the show. Right. So I know you have two amazing boys. Let's fast forward. Imagine you're 80 years old, right? You've lived an amazing life, and you're having your 80th birthday, surrounded by friends and family, and your two boys stand up to speak about the impact and the effect that you had on their lives, how you shaped them into the people they became. What do you hope that they would say?
What I hope that they would say, I don't hope at the moment, I know what they would say, right? Our daddy was here for us. Our daddy spent time with us. And our daddy did all kinds of crazy stuff with us, which is true, right? And which for me is important. And I know that they're going to say, our daddy loves us, because I keep saying that every single time I get an opportunity, I do, right? Hugs, kisses, just sometimes that's all they need, right? Sometimes I get mad, and my kids know by now, man, I'm such a sucker for hugs. I get mad, and I have a very hard voice when I get mad. And I usually, when I get mad, they know I curse in Dutch, which is my own language. They don't completely understand, but they understand the volume, which I'm working on, by the way. But as I see, I'm sorry for everybody if you think like, whoa, no, I am like I am, and we're all as dads make mistakes, but I give myself grace. It's okay, it happens. Sometimes you just flip and boom, and then you get an opportunity to apologize, and they know. So they're like, oh, I want a hug, and they know, and they just get a hug, and everybody calms down, everybody's happy, right? So that's the stuff that they're gonna say, right? And for sure, that's no hope in there.
Fantastic. Hey, Klaas, my man, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for the energy you put into this, for the wisdom that you shared, for the links that you offer to our community. And I double appreciate it, knowing how challenging a day that you've had. So thanks so much for being here, my man. I cannot thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care.
All right. You too, man. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for sticking with us to the end. I trust you had as much fun listening to this conversation as I did. Don't forget to take advantage of Klaas's offer and go watch the masterclass on productivity. And remember, knowledge without application is nothing. Being able to apply scheduling to your personal life will totally change the game for you. And I hope you take advantage of that and do that. All right, so take care, my friends. Until next time, be well.